Whew! That may very well be the last photo that I take in the United States. What's up, photo fam? It's Matt. Welcome back. I've got some big news to share today. I've been reluctant to bring it up because there's been a lot of uncertainty involved and it's not really photography related, but it's to the point that if I don't address it, it'll be awkward. So this is a photography channel. We will make a photo today. I'm actually out here on the countryside, which should come certainly as no surprise to you. The weather conditions are terrible for photography, but I've been waiting for them all summer, and I'm so glad that you're here so that I can share them with you. So let's have a quick discussion and make a photo together here in the countryside. Did you ever know someone from like one context, like one specific context, and you thought you knew them really well, right? Your church or like, gardening club or whatever, but then you see them in some other like totally unrelated context, like they're playing bass in a band, some bar you visit or something, and suddenly you realize that there's this whole other dimension or dimensions to this person. That's kind of the way I feel like I'm coming to you today, because you guys know me pretty well through my photography venture. In fact, a lot of you know more about my photography than like my family members do, but obviously like photography is not the only thing I do. In some ways, I don't even consider it to be like the primary thing I do. I actually consider my primary life role right now as a student. It's kind of awkward for me to admit that because I'm kind of a late in life student. I had this whole side venture where I went into the Navy to help pay for my college, and now I'm going back on the GI Bill. But that's important to why I consider my student life to be like maybe my most important obligation, right? Or the thing to which I have the biggest responsibility, because I'm a representative of the armed services, and I'm also a steward of your tax dollars. So yeah, I study English on the GI Bill at a school up north of here in Indiana, and typically I try to give primary consideration to my school life. And that's worked out pretty well over the last 3 years. I've been able to balance my school life, typically full or part-time employment, some other interests, and photography. Typically those things have all worked really cohesively until recently. No, I just made a video from the top of my car. Listen, stop yelling at me. I'm aiming for some more variety here, but the corn's been really high lately, and really the best way to get advantage over it is to shoot from the top of a car or some other platform. Now, I tried to take us out to a levee, but I really prefer the intimacy that I can get with the corn here by having my car parked right up in the field. I think it's going to give me a lot more interesting photo, particularly in the foreground area of the frame. I'll take you up top and show you what I'm looking at. See, much better, right? So what do I mean when I say that I've been waiting for these conditions all summer? The long exposure of the corn blowing around in the wind is a shot that I've been working on for a couple years, and I've been waiting for a big storm to come like this. We're actually in the eye of Hurricane Ida after it's made landfall. I'll show you the shot that I framed up through the viewfinder, and then we'll talk about this conflict that I'm faced with in my life between my photography and my school life, and how it's going to impact the channel going forward, and why I'm leaving the country and changing my name. So we've got this barn scene framed up underneath the railing of this irrigator. Normally that kind of framing I think I would see as like a contrivance, but I don't know, I'm playing around with it today, and I'm going to throw a filter on the front. All I have is a polarizing filter, but I'm going to throw it on the front and see if that can give me a little bit of a longer exposure. I really want to capture the motion of this stuff blowing around. Much better. So the filters got me from 1/6 of a second up to 1/2 a second to lengthen my exposure time and capture more movement in this cornfield in the foreground. Ooh, now we're really getting some wind. This normally when you go out and shoot landscapes, you're sort of like waiting for still spots in the wind between the gusts, and today's very much the opposite. I'm sitting here in the still spots waiting for big gusts to come along and grab my shot. And as always, the 2-second timer is my worst enemy. So like I mentioned, I'm an English major, right? I like old books and I like literature. And one of the biggest opportunities that can come along for someone who studies a literary tradition is to study in the place where that tradition developed. And I didn't think I would ever have an opportunity like that. But lo and behold, over the summer, I was offered a scholarship study to study in Scotland. So I crunched some numbers, and I decided that, you know, if I stuck it out at this factory that I was working in for about 8 months and supplemented my normal GI Bill benefit with this scholarship, that I could just barely pull off catching a flight over to Scotland and riding out the semester on ramen noodles there. So I'm very excited to announce that for the next few months of the channel, the videos you're going to be seeing won't necessarily be these cornfield scenes, but I'm trying to savor them while I can. You're going to be seeing some scenes from the beautiful countryside of historic, iconic Scotland. The reason I think it's important to bring it up is on the channel and, you know, through my other social media presences, I'm very regularly trying to solicit donations and other contributions for my art venture, right? My project of showing off heartland scenery in conversations where it's not normally discussed or introduced, giving a little exposure to our home. And I don't want to give the impression that I've fled the country on some exotic European vacation. I've actually worked really hard to secure the funding that I have myself. This funding is not much. It's not going to be an exotic trip by any means, certainly not a vacation. A lot of my trip's going to be involved in my studies, and your contributions have definitely, sorry about that, and your contributions have been critical in making this part of what I do possible. I'm going to make every effort to share my experience in Scotland with you, and if you can find value in that in any way, then your continued contributions will certainly be welcome, especially as it comes to ensuring that I return to the Midwest safely and without issue. So thanks for understanding that. I hope you'll continue to follow along on this part of my journey. I really think this can be something special that we can share together. That may very well be the last photo that I take in the United States this year. If you're wondering what happened to my jacket, I've got the camera suffering on top of the car without me. So for the last few years, I've been really enjoying sharing my Heartland photo adventures on this channel, Flyover Photography. I've really been pursuing other Midwest photographers and people who might take an interest in landscape photography, the Midwest landscape photography in general. And one of the big reasons for that is because I knew I was going to be taking this trip to Scotland, and in the UK, a lot of social media currency is invested in a photographer's YouTube channel, right? It's not quite what Instagram is here, but it's just given more importance and looked at as more of a reflection of the effort that the photographer, especially the landscape photographer, places into his or her work. So it's just another way that you guys have been really supportive to me, just with your following, liking the videos. I really hope you'll continue to follow along. I feel somewhat disingenuously to take the moniker flyover photography, you know, that people call this part of the country flyover country, right? I feel somewhat disingenuous to take that moniker into these more luxurious locations, right? And frankly, you know, like I said, photography is not my whole life, and I think it would be cool if I could share more of my personal life and just other things outside of photography on my YouTube channel. So for that reason, I've decided that the next video you see on this channel is going to be under my regular name, Matt Ramsey. I hope you'll keep following me. This is still going to be like a 90% photography channel, and I anticipate that once I return from Scotland in January, it's probably still going to be at like a 90% Midwest photography channel. But, you know, I would like to be able to express myself in other ways and use YouTube more as a personal voice without feeling that I'm obligated to make everything photography related. So next video posted under the channel name, Matt Ramsey, and very likely will be a video in some way reflective of my experience in Scotland. Okay, I think I've let the car top time lapse run long enough. If not, the camera certainly is wet enough. And the light is just about done for the day, so I know I'm done making photos, but I'm pretty sure I've got a good one to share, and I'm gonna put that in the video right now. Thank you for watching. Until next time, you guys keep an eye out and a foot forward. you.